like Uber's the classic example, right? Like, let's start a business where strangers pick up girls who are 16, you know what I mean, and drive them to their friends' houses. Like, that sounds like a terrible idea, right? Like but in retrospect, you're like, no, it'll be totally fine because there's going to be a mutual rating system and blah, 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 blah. What we found is that there are always reasons to say no to a deal. You can always find reasons to say no because there's nothing that's risk-free. Even treasuries have risk. The US economy could collapse and treasuries could be worth nothing. Like, is it likely? Maybe, I don't know, but it's probably less likely than a bank failing. Because if the US fails, all the banks by default are also failing. So which of these is greater risk? So then you start comparing risks rather than trying to eliminate risks. And so if we're looking at opportunities, that's why like risk-adjusted return is one of the things that a lot of investors look at, which is like, is there a way that I can appropriately adjust this risk to normalize different opportunities? And I think that single skill set is one of, if not the most important skill sets as an entrepreneur, because fundamentally it's betting. Like, that's what we're doing. We're making bets. Every day we bet with our time, we bet with our money. With the limited constraints we have, or limited resources we have, against unlimited opportunities. I think that the investor frame is simply people who have been scored and quantified on their ability to make decisions. And so I think that we can learn a ton from how investors make decisions overall. It's like why Ray Dalio's book, Principles, became like a bestseller, even though 99.9% of people who are reading the book aren't even investors, or definitely not investors at his level. But the principles of good decision making are just quantified, and we have a scoreboard for these guys being excellent decision makers. Whereas most other people, you don't have a real scoreboard, so we can't tell how valid is their advice. And I think that's what makes taking advice from really world-class investors who've been doing it for decades as a great source of information, because we can validate that they have a stack of undeniable proof that they are who they say they are.